All right, everybody, welcome back. And we are going to be talking all about how real estate agents can work with real estate investors and why that is such a big opportunity for real estate agents to not just expand their client portfolio, but also be able to work with repeat clients, right? Which is one of the most important aspects of working with investors. And I know as we go into a shifting market, a lot of agents are going to be looking for more investors to work with in order to expand their business and to have a good stream of income coming in as well. So, no better to talk to somebody who is a real estate investor and a real estate agent and a real estate agent who works with a lot of investors. So, we are bringing on the host of the Austin Real Estate Podcast, Jordan Moorhead, real estate investor specialist, to talk about that topic today. So, welcome to the show, Jordan.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. And I think before being a real estate agent, I was actually a real estate investor, and that's still kind of driven where our business goes and the clients we work with. And just to not be confused, there is an Austin Real Estate podcast. We are the Austin Real Estate Investing podcast. But yeah, I'm an investor first and foremost. I invest here in Austin and I invest in other markets around the country. And I think all agents should also be investors, but if you're going to be an investor, why not also work with real estate investors?
Right, exactly. And I mean, I'd love to kind of get your take before we kind of get started and dig right into this. Is like how you kind of got started, right? When you were a real estate investor, how you became an agent, and kind of like your journey from when you first started in real estate to kind of like what your business looks like right now.
Yeah, I love it. So I started house hacking first. My first property was a duplex. I lived in half of it. I had roommates in that half. We also had an Airbnb guest in the spare room. So I had an Airbnb guest, a roommate, and then tenants upstairs that more than covered the mortgage. So I actually made money to live in that first property. I was running another business at the time, saved up a ton of money, and bought my next investment 6 months later. So duplex, then I bought a sixplex. And then I said, hey, I really enjoy this real estate thing. I was seeing a lack in the market for real estate agents that worked with investors. So I said, hey, I love investing. I love helping people. Maybe I could combine these two and help people invest. So I got my real estate license later, 2017, and hit the ground running. My first year, I did 24 transactions. 22 of them were with investors or house hackers, which is a way to real estate invest. And that just, my career started from there. It just built. It's only been more recently that our business is still about 80-20 or something like that. 80% investors, 20% normal home buyers. But like you said, if you're helping people learn how to invest and learn how to do it the right way, those are repeat clients that come back to you over and over and only want to work with you because you know what you're doing and you helped them so well the first time.
Right, definitely. And I think, I mean, for agents, right, it's difficult to have those repeat clients. And I think for agents who are working with just like retail buyers or sellers, the most they can get from that is usually just the referral or, potentially an investment property 3, 5,
Mhm.
even 10 or more years down the line
Yeah.
from like when they've purchased their first home. So we're definitely gonna be talking a lot about that as well. And I kind of want your take on agents and how they can actually work with investors and tailor their business towards them. But before we kind of dig into that, I really want to kind of get your take on house hacking, right? Because we hear a lot about house hacking as an investment strategy. So for people who are looking to get into investing, who might be a little bit younger, who potentially people who are looking to go to college or start investing in college, right? I think
Mhm.
house hacking could be a great strategy. So I mean, like from your experience, what are some of the top tips or best ways to approach that? Should you start with a duplex? Is it cool if you just start with a single family and start renting out rooms as well, or is there more issues that arise from that?
Sure. And I think, house hacking is something everybody should do. And it's great to start when you're young. But if you're not young, let's say you're 35 and you're like, oh, I'm too old, can't do it anymore. I don't believe that. I've helped people of all ages get started house hacking. I've helped people that are married. I helped a couple that was married and bought their dream home before they met me. They said, this is our dream home. This is exactly where we want to be, what we want. but we're not getting the financial freedom that we're looking for. We're not getting the options that we're looking for out of life. So they sold that first home and bought a duplex to live in. So you can do it at any time, no matter what your circumstances are. I've helped couples, a married couple with 2 kids, buy a duplex to house hack. Like, anybody can do it. But my biggest tips for house hacking are talk to local people in your market that are house hacking and learn what they're doing that works. So here in Austin, a duplex is hard to make cash flow as a long-term rental. But if you have one side that's a monthly or a short-term rental, and one side that's a long-term rental, you can cash flow. Or if you have both sides that are medium-term rentals, you can cash flow. When you're living in it, the best strategy is mid-term or short-term rental on the other side. But maybe you're like, hey, I really want to live in a nicer neighborhood with an HOA and a pool. Like, single family is going to be the way to go. So there's not a wrong way to do it, but you might not be able to find a duplex in New York City. You might have to find a single family further out, or you might have to find a condo that works for you. The most important thing to remember about house hacking is your goal is to reduce your living expenses. That's the tip of the iceberg. If you can reduce your living expenses, you're successful. Then you want to analyze it to make sure that you can cash flow when you move out. That's super important, because if it doesn't, then there's no reason to buy it. After that, though, you get the loan pay down and the appreciation and the depreciation and the tax benefits from the mortgage interest payments. And worst case scenario, let's say you're in a city that you just can't do this in. People say there's no way you can do that, like San Francisco or New York. And you're like, all right, I have to live somewhere. I'm going to buy a condo or a single family house. And to reduce my portion of the payments, I'm going to rent out the other rooms, or I'm going to rent out the garage unit to somebody else. People make garage units into condos. And even if you're paying 60% of the mortgage, that's still 60% compared to 100%. And you're paying down the loan, and the place is appreciating, and you get the tax benefits. Later on, you just sell it. It's still better than living in an apartment or buying a single family and paying the whole mortgage on your own. So I think my number one tip, figure out what your living expenses are and figure out how you can live for less than that over the long run.
Right. And I think that's the big draw of house hacking, right? Is that you're
Yeah.
able to kind of build up your wealth as you are, as a part of your living expenses, as a part of kind of your lifestyle as well, which is really interesting. And I think you made a really good point that I haven't heard this a lot, kind of like other people talk about, which is, house hack, but instead of, renting out your rooms or your extra units as long-term rentals, do them as short to mid-term rentals, right? Because that way, it can, because you're there, you're already managing it. It's not like it's 50,000 miles away where management will be an issue, but also, you're getting more cash flow, getting higher rents on these houses because, or on these units because, they're not long-term rentals, right? They're short-term, so you can charge a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. And I think, as realtors, we talk to people all day about the power of wealth building and real estate. You're like, hey, you buy a house, that's what made the middle class. That's where what's it, 90% of millionaires are made through real estate. House hacking is just pouring gasoline on that fire. If you do 1 or 2 or 3 house hacks, I've done 4 house hacks. The results just start to compound and be pretty amazing. So the cash flow and the equity from that, and of course all the tax benefits from that, are just so big. And you can do that for under 5% down.
Yeah.
Like you're buying a single family house, but you're not paying the whole mortgage on your own. So the benefits of real estate are there times 10, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, is that a strategy that you're kind of starting out with when you're helping other real estate investors? Is you're looking more for people who house hack and then sharing with them that strategy, or is it a different kind of approach now that you have a big book of business?
So I think the number one client we have here in Austin, and the number one client we've always had, is a house hacker. So somebody that's looking to save money on their living expenses and build wealth through real estate. But for any real estate agent out there, talk to your clients about this. Give them content about this stuff. Hey, by the way, you too can invest in real estate, and you can do it for under 5% down. So we have a well-known agent here in Austin. She's on my podcast, one of the earlier episodes. Wendy Papazan. She and her husband Jay, who wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, they started by house hacking, but they didn't start with duplexes. They would buy a single family, and then a year later they would move out, and they would make that single family a rental. That's one way to do it. There's so many ways to do this, and just by doing that, they built an 8-figure net worth just by buying a house every year and moving out of it in Austin in good neighborhoods that made good rentals. So they'd say, hey, I want to move into this house. It's going to make a good rental when I move out. So they're going to move out a year later, over and over and over. But anybody can do this. And you can tell your clients about this that aren't real estate investors. Oh, you don't want to manage rentals? That's great. I've got a great property manager that can help you. So buy this house, make it a rental in a year, and buy another house. And if you do that in any major market a couple times, you're easy a millionaire. Easy, no problem. I would say any market in the United States that has a population of over 1 million, do this 3 times and you're a millionaire in 30 years, no problem.
Wow. Yeah, it's a powerful, powerful system to build a lot of wealth. And I think for people who are a little bit more concerned about house hacking, that's the one I've heard a lot of is, they don't want to make the lifestyle change, right? They don't want to, they're concerned about living with a psychopath or somebody else who, might kill them or whatever, kind of in their same home. So when that objection kind of comes up, what are some ways that you guys are usually kind of handling it, and how are you calming those nerves for people who they know that this is a wealth building strategy, the numbers clearly work, but they're concerned about the lifestyle shift?
Well, I think, if you're just really hooked on, I have to have my own space, buy a duplex, buy a triplex or fourplex, do that. There's so many different options. There's some people say, hey, there's no way I could have roommates. I'm 34. My girlfriend is almost 30, 29 years old. We're not going to have roommates anymore, but we can buy a duplex and live in half. So there's a way to do this for everybody. If you're just getting started and you're in a higher price market and the duplexes just aren't working where you are, then buy a single family, rent out the other rooms. I have an agent on my team here, bought a single family for under 300,000 in Austin 2 years ago, made the office into a bedroom. He lived in the office and he rented out the other 3 rooms and lived completely for free doing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. I mean, a great way to build wealth. And I think, kind of like not like shifting topics, but, now that we kind of understand the power of investing, especially through house hacking, as agents, right? What a great way to now share this with your clients and with, other people in your market. So that way, you can become their investor's agent, right? Like the scenario you talked about where this couple, they were buying a house hack and then they were selling it a year later, or they were buying another house hack a year later, and then so on and so forth, right? If they were working with an agent, right, that's repeat clients, at least, however many times they've bought a new house hack. So for agents who are starting to work with investors, what is your advice to them, right? How would an agent start to work with real estate investors, right? What are the things they need to know that they might not know now working with, just retail clients?
Yeah, so I think the first things first, you have to educate yourself. You got to learn the lingo. You need to go to meetups. You need to understand what real estate investors want, because it's not what normal clients want. It's typically they want a good deal, but they want a good deal and they want great resources. So if you can build up a great resource base for these people and you can help them find deals and you know what they're looking for, that's so powerful. It also doesn't hurt to be an investor. So start investing yourself if you're able, and then learn as much as possible as you can about investing. Go to the real estate investing meetups, the RIA in your area, listen to podcasts, just understand all these strategies so you can best educate your clients, and then start to educate people. People want to get together and talk about real estate investing. And if you provide an outlet for them to do that, whether it's a meetup or a podcast or a Facebook group or whatever it is, people appreciate that stuff. And then just be there to educate, and investors can sniff out somebody trying to sell them something. So if you're there really trying to give, you're going to have such better luck.
Right. Yeah. I think that's something that agents need to understand is working with investors is a lot different than working with just a normal client, because investors are they understand the business, right? If anything, they just understand real estate and they understand when they're being sold, like you said, on
Mhm.
something because they're looking for deals all the time. So it's a different approach, and I think the big question I guess I have is if there was an agent listening to this who wasn't an investor, right? They've never invested in real estate themselves, but they will like to work with investors. I mean, is that first of all, is that doable? And then second, how would you kind of approach that where an investor might question you as to your credibility to kind of help them be an investor when you've never really done it yourself?
Yeah, I think that goes back to really learning as much as you can about real estate investing and then just finding good deals. Like I used to be, so I buy a lot of real estate myself. I'm a real estate investor, but I used to be real picky about only working with people that were investors.
Mhm.
And that was before I had bought a lot of real estate. Anymore, I don't care if you own a bunch of real estate. It's cool to know that you do, and I like that, and I'm more apt to pay attention if you own real estate. But if you bring me a great deal, say, hey Jordan, I know I talked to you 2 months ago or a month ago, and you said you were looking for this exact deal. Here it is. What do you think about it? Maybe it's not the right thing, but that's just going to show me that, hey, this person's out there hustling, trying to find me deals. And that's who I want to work with. If the real estate agent that owns a couple investment properties is just sitting waiting for their phone to ring, and this guy over here is out hunting deals for me, I'm gonna be like, he's my guy. I want to go with him. I want to learn more about him. I want to see how I can help him learn more about investing, so he
Right.
knows how to better find me a deal. All I care about is the hustler that's going to be out there to find me deals. I don't really care anymore if they're an investor or not, because I mean, hopefully, if we work together, they start to figure out that it's a good thing to do and they'll do it themselves. But I came into this looking for a deal. I didn't come into this looking for the best pedigree ever. I don't care if
Right.
you went to college. I care that you work hard.
Right. Yeah, I think that is a mental block a lot of agents have who want to work with investors but aren't necessarily investors themselves.
Mhm.
Is they feel like they have to have investment properties under their belt first before they even approach an investor, right? And that's coming from an investor's perspective. That's not what you're necessarily looking for. You're looking for
No,
people who are willing to go out there and do the thing that you require of them.
yeah, I don't care. I used to care, but I didn't own a bunch of investment properties then. Anymore, I could not care less if you own investment properties. Yeah, it's cool, and I hope you do invest. But if you want to work with me as an investor, if you bring me deals, that's all I care about. And if you're out there working hard to get it done for me, that's all I really care about.
Right, exactly. And let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about, being the most important thing of an agent who wants to work with investors is that they can bring them deals.
Mhm.
What are some ways that, an agent would need to go out and find these deals, right? Because anybody can really, especially licensed investors, they have access to the same MLS that you do as a real estate agent.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're working with somebody like that, what are some of the additional value that you could provide that an investor who's licensed or just a normal real estate agent might not be able to provide?
Mhm. Yeah, I think you make a great point. There are some investors that are licensed. Probably most of them are not. Most of them that
Right.
I know are not. But a lot of people know real estate agent. So if you want to provide value above that standard real estate agent, obviously you got to find them deals. But to know what kind of deals they want, you need to be able to talk to them, sit down, figure out what their buy box is, exactly what they're looking to buy. And once you've done that, you can go out and start hunting for them. I think that's such a good skill because I call people all day long. It's something I do every day is I make cold calls. If you don't have a deal that my investor wants, but I get you on the phone and you're another investor, maybe I could list this property because my investor is not willing to pay enough for it. Maybe I could help you find other properties. There's so many options out there when you're talking to other investors. So if I'm calling a list of 2-unit properties in Austin, I have 3 or 4 different options. I can help you lease that property. I could help you sell it. I could help you buy another property. I could sell it off market to one of my investors. There's so many places it could go. And just keep your options open when you're hunting for deals for people. So it doesn't just feel like, hey, I'm out there hunting for deals for Kobe, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to find him deals. After a while, you're like, you know what? I sent him 5 deals here recently. He's not bought any of them. What am I doing here? Like, have other options for that deal. Maybe you're trying to find it for your investor, but maybe you make a relationship with somebody that's going to refer you people or buy with you or sell with you, or who knows, to keep adding your database and get out there and find deals. You know, like, the best, one of the best ways to do that is just by meeting people. You're going to meetups, you're door knocking, you're cold calling. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. There's gold in that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely
I mean,
gold in it.
yeah, the way to succeed in business, right, is being able to do the things that other people aren't willing to do,
Yeah.
and getting a little bit uncomfortable, which is necessary. So, I mean, I think what you're saying is, just to clarify, is that hunting for properties, but off market, right? Not just MLS properties that anybody can see. These are off market lists that you are finding.
Yeah, but you don't want to discount MLS properties either. So we work with a large flipper here in Austin. He came to us recently and said, hey, I can't look at every property that comes on the market. If you see something that fits my criteria, send it to me. This guy is licensed. So people say, oh, they have MLS access, they'll see it. I'm licensed. I'm looking for properties in areas that I am licensed in, have MLS access. I don't have the time to look at all that stuff. There's no way. So yeah, look for properties off market, but don't think that the only place you're going to find your investor properties is off market. Still send them properties that are on the market. Say, hey, saw this, thought of you. What do you think about this property? Most of all of the house hacks I've bought in, so I bought 4 house hacks, all on the market. Like 15 out of 35 properties we bought in a partnership in the last 2 years have been on the market. All the multifamily I've bought has been on the market. I don't discount the MLS. That's where people go when they want to sell property. So don't think, hey, because my investor has Zillow, he's going to see this property. He doesn't need me. Send it to him anyway. Be like, hey, saw this, thought of you. He might say, hey, I already saw that, but when can we go tour it? So yeah, we have a smart plans or action plans, I don't know what you call them, on your CRM, set up on our CRM for our agents that go out 3 times a week and say, hey, send properties to XYZ investor. It just, they know you're out there working for them, and
Right.
you're doing work for them. Yeah, they could do on their own, but they probably weren't going to.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's kind of your job as an agent, right? You're supposed to go out there and do the
Find the
work that an
property.
investor, right? Find
Yeah.
properties for people, and investors who don't have time to do that. That's why they hire an agent. It's not that they want to, pay an extra commission, or work with an extra individual, or sometimes to see on market properties, having an agent would help. But that's why they, again, that's why they work with a real estate agent, is so that they can access the skill set and the value that you have, which is being able to get first access to MLS properties, be able to send investors properties that and you see, and then you're actually the ones going out there and doing that job, right? It's part of the job description, if you will.
And bigger investors, like real big time investors that are doing dozen plus deals a year, they're not looking to save 3% on each property. They're looking, how efficiently can I buy these properties? So if I'm out there hunting for a property for one of our investors and I'm finding it, I'm taking care of all the minutia, I'm just serving it up to them on a plate, their life is so much easier than if they had to go do all that work, which they don't do every day and they're not good at and they're not focused on. So don't think that investors don't want to use agents because they want to save a commission. That's silly. Most investors that are doing a lot of deals, like the real investor, doesn't want to deal with all that BS. They just want a deal put in front of them they can execute on and move on to what they're best at next, which is buying, renovating, and managing property. And they're probably not managing it either. They're probably coordinating the rehab and they're moving on.
Right.
So it's the small fish that take up most of your time and are going to go use another agent or going to try to do the deal on their own. and aren't going to do many deals anyway. But the real investors are like, dude, you got deals, bring them over. I want you to get paid. I have no problem with paying you, and I don't need a discount. I just want you to keep bringing me deals. That's me. If you bring me deals, we've paid buyers agent commissions plenty of times just to get the deal done.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like on the for a lot of off-market properties, right? I mean, that's how the agent gets compensated is the buyer's agent commission. Because, obviously if somebody's selling or
Mhm,
wants to not list it on the MLS, they clearly don't want to pay a commission. So,
mhm.
but yeah, no, that's a good point. I think, a lot of agents overcomplicate it when it comes to working with investors. They think they need to have some analysis calculator. They think they need to like educate people on a different level when it comes to investing and teach a non-investor to be an investor. I mean, I definitely see the value in that, but maybe you can give your take on this as well. Is, should an agent who wants to work with investors just focus on some of the more experienced ones and the ones that they're going to close on the properties, or should you kind of maybe spend some time just educating people on how to invest? And they might be the small fish, but they might turn out to be
Yeah.
big time investors and repeat investors, or refer you to a repeat investor.
Yeah, I think what we've really found over the years is that the bigger investors that have been at it for a long time have their agent, and it's unlikely they're going to switch to you. They do sometimes, but not very often. So yeah, you need to educate newer people, and you need to get people involved in real estate investing that maybe have that interest.
Right. Yeah. I mean, is that something that an agent should be looking out for if they're talking to like a more experienced investor who, maybe give them their buy box, or just say, hey, if you just bring me a deal, I'll just bring me deals, right? I'm always open to deals, right? Because,
Mhm.
investors, they want deals coming to them. So should an agent kind of be on the lookout for that, and maybe potentially watch for like pitfalls where they're sending this investor deals, but they're not really serious, kind of about buying it, because, they have other agents and wholesalers doing the same.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, on that same hand, if you do send somebody a deal and it meets their criteria, they're probably going to buy it.
Right.
Um, you just, like I said, and this is just my experience, but most of our buyers started out investing with us. They didn't have a long career of investing and then met us, or they moved to town and they said, hey, we've bought 2 or 3 investment properties in Philly or in Baltimore, and we're coming to Austin now. We need to buy investment properties. So we looked you up and you look like you're reputable. But most of your clients are going to be newer investors. And that's where learning a lot and being able to help educate them really comes in.
Right. And I think a good place to get educated and meet other investors as well as bigger pockets, right? I don't know what
Mhm.
the extent is. I know you're pretty active on there, but I don't know what the extent is when it comes to getting actual business. I mean, I know that's how we kind of got connected as well, as on bigger pockets.
Mhm.
But I don't see like a lot of agents on bigger pockets, right? It could be wrong with because there's more and more agents going, creating their profiles, but I think
Mhm.
there needs to be more of a presence, right, for real estate agents, because it's a great place to meet investors, and because
Mhm.
that's literally an investor's forum, right?
Yeah, and like kind of a newbie investors forum for the most part. But the great thing about that is you can just be on there adding value to people. And I think that's everything, be on social media, bigger pockets, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, just adding value and talking about real estate investing. And people will reach out to you eventually, but you always just have to be contributing. It goes back around.
Right.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's all good, yeah, but it's just contributing value, right? Contributing value first, leading with value, so that they can, people can see that you're somebody who can provide them with information, and who will be able
Mhm.
to help them if they choose to work with you in the future.
Mhm.
And then you start, by educating people, like you said, and you do that by, educating yourself first. So if you're listening to this
Yeah,
podcast, you're doing the right thing, right?
yeah.
Learning about investing.
And then they start to trust you. So when they see that, hey, this person's on there every week or every couple of days, and they're saying stuff that makes sense, they start to trust you. And that's when maybe they'll reach out to you and they need to do their next deal.
Right. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to have somebody reach out to you to do business, or to potentially refer business as well. I think that's probably overlooked by most agents, right, is the referral side, because an
Mhm.
investor knows other investors. They know like-minded people, right? They could be, they might not work with you here. They might, hold off on their investment strategy at the moment, but because you've provided value to this individual and they might know two or three other investors, they will just refer you to them who might be looking for an agent to work with, or refer you to them because you've done such a good job for them, even though, no deal kind of came through it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. Like just showing, it's all about showing up and adding value. That's the easiest way to put it.
Right. Showing up and add value. Leading with value is probably the most important thing that,
In everything.
yeah, in everything. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, kind of just shifting the topic a little bit here as well. As a real estate agent, I think, we did talk about this as well a little bit. Real estate agents who are investors, they're able to help investors better. So, I mean, as a real estate agent who doesn't invest in real estate now, what are some ways that they can kind of get into investing, and what are some of the benefits, right, for a realtor to invest in real estate aside from aside from just having the knowledge to kind of help other investors in their circle.
Mhm. Yes, there's so many ways to get started investing in real estate. And there's, like I was talking about earlier, there's a right way for everybody. I
Yeah.
think if you don't have any money and you're just getting started and you're able to prove income as a real estate agent, you need 2 years tax returns to prove
Right.
income. So maybe you're starting part-time, you have another job, get into house hacking, probably the easiest way you're going to go. The next thing is just buying a house. Gary Keller from Stage a couple years back was talking about, hey, if you got that listing appointment, the first offer needs to be from you. So
Right.
make sure you've got investors lined up to help you, but buy houses yourself. Get out there, buy real estate, buy your own listings, whatever it is. You come in contact with a lot of deals as an active real estate agent and make it happen. But maybe you're like, hey, Jordan, I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to house hack. I've got a kid and a wife and a nice house and a nice car that I want, a nice garage. And I don't want to deal with tenants, toilets, and trash. It's kind of a pain. Um, I would argue that it's not as big of a pain as you think. But if you're saying there's no way I'm not going to do it, invest passively in real estate. You have just such a great opportunity with the tax treatment that's available to us as real estate agents to take advantage of massive depreciation to offset your active income. So you're like, hey, I made $200,000 last year. This is awesome. It's like, it's awesome until you go pay taxes on that money. Or maybe you're just crushing it. Put that money into a real estate syndication, into somebody else's real estate deal. Get that 100% bonus depreciation that actually ends this year. Get 80% bonus depreciation next year. Get whatever. Get those huge depreciation checks that are passed through to you. And as a real estate professional, you can use that all against your income that year. Talk to your accountant. I'm not an accountant, but I pay way less in taxes than I should because of being a real estate investor. So our income and our growth as a team continues to go up. My taxes continue to go down the more real estate I buy. So the more money I make, the less I pay in taxes. And
Yeah.
it's astonishing. But because of the tax treatment available to us as real estate agents, as full-time real estate professionals, there's no reason why you should not be investing in real estate any way you can, whether it's by house hacking, buying your own rental properties, or investing in somebody else's deal through real estate syndications or even passive lending, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. How about that? Right. The more money you make, the less taxes you pay. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my best year ever last year. We're gonna have a best year ever again this year. I paid in taxes last year what I paid my second year in real estate. So, like, again, income's going up, taxes are going down. So it's because I've continued to buy more real estate over time, and I've invested in real estate, and I've invested in other people's deals, and the depreciation just keeps building, and the taxes keep going down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? That's the way
Mhm.
to build wealth. And taxes, they're not they're not the fanciest thing. People don't, kind of get bored by them a little bit, but it is, it is part of it, right? If you can control what's going out on the back end, and taxes are, I guess, they're considered expenses, right? So if you can
Yeah.
control that as well and limit that, you might not have to make as much more revenue and just to keep more money instead of just making more money.
Oh, even if you live in Texas, to make a dollar, to receive a dollar, you need to make $1.30, or it's something, it's around those. So your 30% tax rate, you got to make so much more. Every dollar you can keep, that's $1 in your pocket. So that dollar is actually worth more than that. It's worth like $1.30, $1.35, compared to, hey, I paid taxes on my money to the federal government. Or maybe you live in California and you pay 50% tax as a real estate agent. Like, get your taxes down, because that 50% or that 30%, wherever you are, could be invested, and that could grow over time. Even if you don't pay taxes because you've got all these real estate investments and you invest in the S&P 500, that dollar that you would have paid in taxes is going to grow over time and multiply. So it's just, paying taxes is one of the biggest hits to building wealth over time.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it is always kind of surprised me when a real estate agent doesn't invest in real estate or has no plan to invest in real estate in the future. It always kind of surprises me. It's like, that's kind of your job, right? You teach people to buy and invest in real estate,
It's
and
like
you don't
being a
do it.
fat personal trainer. If you're 400 pounds and a personal trainer, people are looking at you saying, this guy's not taking his own advice. If you're a real estate agent and you're telling people, oh, real estate is awesome, you should buy real estate, date the rate, marry the home, it's going to happen, this is going to happen over time, real estate's going up in this area, people are like, why aren't you buying? You're really doing yourself such a disservice. But then you also have this whole outside bubble looking at you like, you're telling us this stuff, but you're not taking your own advice. It's just silly.
Right. I love the analogy you gave there. It's like being a fat personal trainer.
I used to be in the fitness industry, and I would be so baffled by some people that were given all this advice and not taking it. And,
Yeah.
I got into real estate because I love real estate, but it's just such an interesting phenomenon where we know all this stuff and we don't do it. And everybody has their own excuses. I've worked with agents that say, oh, we're saving up, we're going to do it here soon. I talk to those same agents that I saw 5 years ago, and I would say, well, how's the real estate investing going? Oh, we haven't done it yet. Like, you missed out on millions of dollars because you didn't do anything the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So don't wait, do it today. If you're not investing in real estate, get started investing in real estate. It's going to change your life over time. And then, because you've gotten started investing in real estate, you look so much more attractive to all those other clients too. And you can convert, like you were talking about earlier, like, yeah, maybe it's not that long time investor that's done 100 deals, but maybe it's somebody that's just thinking about investing in real estate, and you convert them to an investor. I sold a property to somebody that my girlfriend met on Bumble BFF. She met this girl, they hit it off. We got together with the couple, and he said, oh, what do you do? Hey, I'm in real estate. We help people invest in real estate mainly. He was interested in investing. He'd never really put two and two together and figured out how to get it done on his own. He knew a lot, but he hadn't taken action. He met me 6 months ago. He's already bought 2 properties.
Wow.
So, like, you're just missing so much if you're not learning about investing and talking to other people about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like we are just talking about, like, as an agent, working with investors is probably one of the best strategies for repeat income, for working with clients that you actually are qualified and understand a little bit about real estate as well. And I mean, I guess one of the other questions that I think a lot of agents, or even like just investors who work with agents who are newer, at investing, will have is, hey, if you're an agent that also invests in real estate, how can I trust you? Right? You probably heard this a lot, right? How can I trust you
A million
that,
times.
yeah, that you will bring the deal to me and not just buy it yourself?
100%. I've heard that so many times I can't count. What I always say to people that say that to me, and a big reason why I also invest out of state and out of my city, is, for one, I don't have all the money in the world. I wish I had enough money to buy every property I saw it was a good deal. But if I did, I still wouldn't be able to. There's just too many good deals we come across. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a house and I'm trying to stay indifferent to it, but I'm like, man, this is the best deal ever. This person needs to buy this. I wish I could buy this right now. The reality is that I don't have all the money in the world and I can't always just buy every property ever. And yeah, I know how to raise money and borrow money from other people, but it's just not reasonable for me to buy every property. I also do a lot of investing outside of the city that I'm in. So I buy one property a year here in Austin. I also buy property in San Antonio, which is about an hour away from us, hour and a half away from us. And I also buy property in Louisville, where I'm from. That allows me to continue to invest in real estate, but not get in the way of my clients. But, I get that question every time. And yeah, I do buy properties in Austin. I've never, ever, ever had a situation come up where the client wants it and I want it. If they did, it's just, hey, the client comes first. That's our fiduciary duty. It's to the client. If you always put your client ahead of yourself, you're just going to be in a better spot. You're going to have a much better long-term career. So it's easy to overcome that objection. I hear it all the time. I can't buy them all, and you're my number one priority no matter what.
Right. Yeah. I think, people think of a real estate agent who knows all these deals going on in the marketplace. They think, if they're just going to buy all these deals up, and, we're just talking about it, right? A lot of real estate agents don't even invest in real estate themselves.
Yeah,
So
be
it's
clear. Yeah.
right. So it's not, that's not the case. So if you're a true, kind of investor's agent, then you would be able to, kind of do both, right? And not everybody has the same buy box, right? Like you were just talking about, everybody's in a different
No.
situation, right?
Yeah. And like I mentioned, we work with majority house hackers. I've also never had it come up where I'm looking for a house hack at the same time that somebody we work with is looking for a house hack that meets the exact same criteria of what I'm looking for. Maybe they're looking to be in this part of town. I don't really care where I'm at, so I'm kind of over here. And they're looking for this type of property, and I want something a little bigger than that. And they want something that's mostly turnkey, and I want it as disgusting as I can find it. It's just, if that situation ever arises, I'll deal with it. But I've not had it arise where, hey, this is a perfect property for our clients, but I'm going to buy it instead. So I
Right.
think that's just a common thought to people, but it's not a reality.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of the things that, you got to overcome as an agent, right? And if you work with a couple of investors, you actually understand how this kind of works, then you understand that not everybody are looking for the same things. Not everybody are looking in the same area. And that way, you can use your knowledge from your investing to help somebody else who might have a different criteria or who might be looking at a different area as well, which is ultimately what you kind of want to do, right? If you're running an overall real estate business. So yeah, I mean, I think you shared a lot of value with us today, Jordan. I mean, I want to respect your time here, but for agents who are out there who want to learn more about what you do, right? Who want to learn more about working with investors, or if they are in Austin, right, and they're an investor and they want to know more about what you do specifically in your market. What are some good ways for people to reach out to you and to find more information about you on social media and kind of follow you on different platforms?
Yeah. So I think the best one to learn more about real estate investing in Austin is always our podcast, the Austin Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm all over Bigger Pockets. You mentioned that. I'm on there all the time. And my Instagram is probably the best place to reach me directly. And that's at Jordan_Moorhead, Moorhead. Another fellow investor friendly agent and I are actually going to be starting a mastermind for investor friendly agents here shortly. Just popped up here in the last couple of days. We're just starting to work on it. So we're probably a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so out from even talking about it. But if you're interested in learning more about being an investor friendly agent, or you are an investor friendly agent and you just want to maximize your business and do as good as you can, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to talk and anybody can always reach out to me. I'm always open to talk.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm excited for the mastermind. I think it's going to be a lot of value for agents who are looking to become more investor friendly and to hone in that skill set as well. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely be on the lookout for that. I'll leave all of the information to follow Jordan in the description down below. So make sure you guys are checking that out, whether you guys are listening to this on audio, it'll be in the show notes, or if you guys are watching this, this will be in the description of the YouTube video as well. So other than that, Jordan, any last thoughts you kind of want to leave the audience on? Any last advice, tips before we sign off here?
Yeah, if you're not investing, get started investing. If you are investing, make sure you're consistently investing. If you're in real estate, continually buy property. It's such a long-term game, but it compounds so amazing over time that if you're not doing it and you get started doing it and you do it consistently and persistently over a long period of time, you're going to be wealthier than you would ever imagine in 10 years. So if you're not started, get started.
Right. That's a great message to leave on. And Jordan, thank you again for being here and for sharing your knowledge and your value with us today. Really appreciate it. And for our audience tuning in, I want to thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.